May the force be with you. Unless you're MAGA, then you can go force yourself.
Renegade Online.
Ryan, if you wore a MAGA hat to a Mark Hamill signing, how would it go?
Well, one, I wouldn't be in line for one to begin with, but I can't imagine it would go over very well. He seems to be rather triggered by it. You know, when I first saw the story going on Friday, I saw people tweeting, Mark Hamill said this at whatever. I was kind of skeptical because I'm like, okay, why is there no video of it? Like, why didn't somebody attach a video? It seems to be a little strange. Would he really say that at a fan expo event? Mm-hmm. I think Mark Hamill's a piece of shit, but really, would he do that? Mm-hmm. Well, did a little digging, had to sit through that entire panel, and sure enough, around the 45-minute point, he actually said it.
He did. Okay, so
so we have confirmation now. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, I can show you if you want. Hold on.
Yeah, bring it up because okay. So here's the thing. I asked. My first response was on Twitter. I was like, something like, did he actually do this? Is this real? And then Jay texted me later that afternoon. He said, well, I'm at the Chicago event. And he was watching it. And he's like, I hadn't heard anything yet. Or maybe he missed it. And some people say, but people kept posting it saying, no, it happened. And I didn't have time this weekend to really fiddle with it. But that was going to be one of the topics this
Well,
evening.
I kind of wondered, too, because he was tagged in it enough. You think he would have addressed it if he didn't?
Yeah.
And not only that, we weren't getting any community notes by like 2 days later. So I was like,
yeah. So here it is. Let's watch it while you're here. Go ahead and roll with it.
Yeah, here we go. Turn the volume up.
I said that before, I say, may the force be with you. Unless you're MAGA, then you can go force yourself.
So yeah, there it is.
This guy has just become
in 4K
one of the biggest disappointments in modern Hollywood history. And we made the joke before here months ago saying, in retrospect, I don't know who's done more damage to Luke Skywalker, Kathleen Kennedy and Ryan Johnson, or this asshole. I really I can't tell anymore. But yeah. That's a shame. And look, there's people like you and I and Pro and Tom and Ron Coleman up there. And look, we get on YouTube and we do commentary. Commentaries talking about pop culture, politics, whatever it is. This is part of the stuff that we do. Hamill, he's an entertainer. He's go out there, make people love you, and he's turned in some, very good performances here and there in recent. What was the Netflix show? It was it Blythe Man? It was one of the horror shows they did. I can't remember the name of it all of a sudden, but I think it was. He played a lawyer in it. I thought he did a great job. This was a couple of years ago. The guy has some acting chops, but it's one of these things. You go out there and you constantly antagonize people. At least half of your audience, if not maybe more than half of your audience, over their politics. And we just got finished having a conversation, kind of catching up on some of the legal updates in the Gina Carano case. I'm like,
that's what I was going to recommend. We should spin this up to Ron for just a minute. Ron, we believe Mark Hamill is connected with the Mandalorian movie coming out. Yep. He's making these kinds of comments continuously. Gina is going into mediation over her lawsuit over this. Do these kinds of comments, if Disney continues to have him be participatory with Star Wars, does this damage Disney's case, or is everything in the past and we're not continuing forward after she was exited?
No evidence.
And real quick, Ron, just before you address that, regardless whether it's in the Mandalorian movie or not, he is in that Lego Star Wars thing, that Lego Star Wars show that they just announced for Disney Plus. Not only is he voice acting, but he's also a producer in it. So he 100% is actively involved with upcoming Disney projects. Go ahead, Ron.
It's still relevant. Yeah, this is still relevant. And I mean, again, we've discussed this in, much more granularly than I think we want to do tonight. The issue of to what extent can Disney say, does Disney get to say, oh no, Mark Hamill's comments are fine. They're good for our business. And we're the only one who can decide whether or not they're good for our business. That's kind of where it's going to be. He's not going to stop making controversial. Listen, I mean, you talk about antagonizing your audience. Rachel Zegler with her Free Palestine, she's antagonizing
Gal Gadot,
the Jews who run Hollywood.
her co-star as well.
I'm not even talking about merely running the international financial system and all the things and all the fun things that people accuse us of running. If there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that the Jews do run Hollywood.
Yeah, I said I can't imagine the investors will be too happy with that one. But and the reality is, I don't expect everyone to have the same political opinion as I do. I'm sure you guys all feel the same way. And if you're going to let people put out their political opinions, then okay. When you're doing it while attaching it to the thing you're promoting, that's a big problem, right? It would be a big problem if somebody that was a massive Trump supporter did the same thing. Hey, thanks for 120 million views on this. By the way, go MAGA, F Kamala Harris. That would be a problem for them because you don't want to turn people off like that when you're talking about the product. And for
actually have an example where somebody got out of the way because they didn't want that to become part of the discussion recently, and that was James Woods.
Yeah.
That you knew exactly where I was going, Ryan. Yeah, sorry.
But Ryan, it's not only that. He actually took the product itself and sort of commingled it with his politics. So he said, go force yourself. So he's literally taking the concept within his IP that he's working on for Disney and making it into a political statement. So what I don't understand is, why has the Walt Disney Company, why have they not said to their people that work with them, listen, we're under a lawsuit. Shut up. Don't make those kind of statements anymore.
I think they don't want to give the impression that they care, that they feel any degree, that they feel any vulnerability about this lawsuit. This is she's a nothing. We're going to take care of this. Same way, remember one of my themes whenever I talk about Disney with you guys is this is a company that is culturally woke from the bottom to the top. It's not just top down like an American, like a what is it? The stuff that Robbie Starbuck's doing, with these American companies that are doing top-down woke stuff like Microsoft,
like John Deere, and
John Deere, right?
Harley
this is
Davidson,
all the way
etc.,
through the company. They're not going to just slam on the brakes because of Gina Carano. It's just not going to happen.
Well, not only
do you
that,
think
Ron, wouldn't I was just going to say,
Tom.
wouldn't if they did start to stifle other people and say, quit doing that, quit being political, like you were saying, Pro. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ron. Wouldn't that kind of in a way signify that they know they're guilty of doing just that thing before, and now that's kind of like
it's
a good look of sorts?
I guess Pro's question would be, let's just all chill for a while, just so that but political activism, well, especially in an era when these people have demonstrated that they're not capable of generating quality content. The only reason they get out of bed in the morning is to tell the story, to share their little philosophies with the world.
And doing
what I was going to ask you, Ron,
is for too much money.
What I was going to ask is that because, in your estimation, has Disney become a part of the political institution of the left, and they see Disney as the way by which they promulgate their values to children all over America? Like, is that the asset they see within Disney, and they won't let it go?
Good question.
I try.
Well, it all goes back to this whole thing with the Mark Hamill statement this weekend. Think of all the memes that'll get made from this. Go force yourself, Star Wars logo, memes against Trump supporters and things like this. That's what Disney is now going to be.
Well, my simply put response is kind of blew up on for me anyway, on my Twitter. So
I didn't
I've gotten
see
a lot of people coming after me. I just said F you back.
Yeah.
And
well,
I've got like almost 3K likes by now, and I've gotten a bunch of the, defenders coming after me like the last 2 or 3 days too. But
Well,
like my big question was, and I'm glad Ryan finally got the answers, did he actually say it or not? Because I was hearing the same thing, is that Drunk said as far as he knew he hadn't said it.
I had to watch that entire panel. All right. I suffered
Yeah, he said it
through
right at the
Mark
end there,
Hamill's like deranged lunacy. There was some good stuff in there. There's also some
Yeah.
weird stuff in there, but because I wanted to find out, because it just felt like it wasn't real because of the people that were reporting it and the fact there was no video attached when there should have been readily available video.
Mhm.
So I watched it and God. And we found it out. I should never have even questioned in my mind if Mark Hamill would do something like that. I thought I was going to have to defend him. Luckily, I didn't. So
I felt the same way. I was like, it seems entirely plausible and that he would make such a statement. But, it goes back to what we talked about some time ago when the initial filing against Disney by Gina Carano and her legal team, and the response from Disney when they were making a motion to dismiss, and they stated in that filing that they should be immune from any liability in this because as an entertainment company, they have First Amendment rights. Okay, another Petrocelli argument, just like he lost in the cases against Florida and Ron DeSantis. He loves it's whatever the First Amendment can do for us in this case. This is how we're going to argue it. It's kind of funny, but they state in there they get to decide who their First Amendment, their claim, protected products are going to be affiliated with, and what type of speech it gets affiliated with. And this statement with Hamill, and which we all can pretty much assume that there's going to be absolutely no repercussions from Disney on it. It's funny because in saying that in that brief, the way they worded it was effectively that, okay, we don't want to associate our product with an innocuous tweet that Gina Carano made, but at the same time, we are essentially, by admission, affiliating ourselves with Trump supporters or Nazis, stated by Pedro Pascal, and other such statements by Mark Hamill. So that they're choosing that we're okay with affiliating with this Star Wars, these Star Wars actors over here, and what they're saying, versus what Gina's saying. So I just always found that entertaining from that perspective, because Disney is now admitted, like I said, in a legal brief, this is what they do. They're picking sides. I mean, that was their argument.
that was the craziest part about that to me, was their response was not, oh, here are the reasons that we didn't punish someone based on their political views. They're like, yeah, we do that, and we think we have the First Amendment right to do that. That was their argument. They admitted that, yes, we do discriminate based on political takes. We discriminate based on for left versus right, conservative versus liberal takes, like all these things. But we just feel like we have the right to do it. And, whether they do or not, I suppose may remain to be seen.
It's not crazy. Again, if it weren't for that unique twist of California law, it would be, if it were almost any other state, say that's a business decision. California
law that was designed to protect commies. Now it's protecting poor lone conservatives out in the California.
Yeah, who saw that one coming? But yeah, there you have it, kids. I mean, Mark Hamill is going to Mark Hamill. Hashtag white dudes for Harris or whatever. I mean,
I think the funnier part of this whole story is the amount of money that he's charging. Did you guys see that?
Oh my gosh,
saw.
yes.
Oh yeah, that was
$400 to
what I tweeted.
$700 for stuff, like to sign stuff. And it's like, are you insane, dude? Who the hell do you think you are?
I will say this: if
he was getting,
I wouldn't pay that much money for it. But if he's pricing it that way, it's probably because people are buying it. It's probably because he doesn't do it very often.
Lost half of his audience, Ryan. That's the other.
Yeah, well, if he's still filling up the lines, then I from a financial standpoint, it doesn't matter, right? It's supply and demand. If you're going to be there for 8 hours on a Saturday, and you can sign in that period of time 400 autographs, and you can do that at $200 a pop or $500 a pop, and you can still get the same number of autographs.
Well, let's run the numbers on that. How many seconds do you think it takes to sign an autograph? Ron, you may be in the wrong business.
It depends, right?
I'm definitely in the wrong business. That's clear.
I think Ron should get a booth at MegaCon in Orlando and sign autographs. That's my opinion. But you think about it. It depends. Here's another great compare and contrast. I don't know how long Hamill spends with each one of these people, right? You could go up there, he could sign something and say, "Have a nice day, good to see you, next."
I hear it depends
right?
on your hat.
For
there's that
$250,
too.
I could have hung out with Cheech and Chong. Okay.
You could have bought some of their
They
products.
need weed money, all right? Hamill's
Yeah.
trying to pay for like another house, you know.
Yeah.
Or another grandkid that he didn't want.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But
is it?
I view that the same way, because like I would never pay that, right? But I wouldn't pay a lot of the numbers that are out there for different people. But I kind of view it the same way I view athletes getting paid like massive contracts. It's like, is it insane that you've got these guys that are signing $53 million a year contracts in the NFL? Yeah, but you know what? That is the market. It
is.
Like, that's the market for it. Is it
though?
crazy
I
that some
mean-
of these seats for like to go watch NFC championship game or is this expensive? Yeah, but that's the market.
The market
Is
there.
it though?
I mean,
And that's
yeah.
my question. Because like, okay, I'll be. Let's be fair. Yes, I get it. To nerds, and especially in like a Comic-Con setting, Mark Hamill's basically the Beatles in that setting. But William Shatner's Elvis. Okay, and Elvis don't even charge that much. So, like,
The difference is
that's the
Shatner.
thing, yeah,
The difference is Shatner goes to a lot of these things.
true.
Hamill doesn't go to a ton of them. So it's the
Yeah.
scarcity. It's the McRib factor, right?
Supply
All
and
right,
demand.
I can buy.
You
that.
know what? Anytime you call Mark Hamill a McRib, I'm finally on board. That's great.
There you go. Yeah.
Take that,
No,
Mark
but I
Hamill.
mean,
You're a
like,
freaking
I don't-
McRib.
I don't know how much time he spends with each guest, right? It might, like I said, it might just be sign, move on, sign, move on. I can tell you from experience when you get in line for some of these other Gina, a great example again. Let's go back to this one. I mean, Gina spends a lot of time with those people that come up. She'll take a couple of minutes with each guest, and say hi and tell them thank you, and she's very personable in that regard. I mean, I finally got a chance to meet her last month when I was in Knoxville, and geez and Pete's, we were probably up there a good 5 minutes at least, which is a long time in a setting like that. So it just depends, I think, on what the individual is doing from that perspective. But yeah, it's how many of these does Mark Hamill do? So he's gonna, you know, when these expos, when they book these celebrities to come in, they're usually paying them some type of flat rate. They're under contract. And then the expo is a lot of times setting the prices for the autograph or in tandem.
Well,
with
the expo
actor,
gets a
at least in
cut,
those
right?
cases.
The expo gets a percentage cut off
But
the.
they get
off
a
the booth.
well. It's either that or like you sign a contract with a like Fan Expo, which does all these different ones. I think that Gina runs the circuit with. My understanding is I think they get like you get a fee for every expo you show up at, and then the expo is who's actually they're charging the dollars to make up for that cost of bringing that celebrity in for pictures and stuff like this. And if it exceeds maybe a certain amount, maybe that celebrity gets a bonus on it. They you know, but it's like signing a book contract, right? They're going to pay you X amount of dollars up front, and if sales exceed a certain figure, you're going to get more. I think it works in a very similar fashion.
I think it also
to that.
depends on who it is, because like I remember when I was hanging out with Clint Howard, the way I kind of got it, it was like, yeah, like the bigger ones, like they actually handle the you like go and you get like tickets, right, for the signatures, for the pictures and all that stuff through the actual convention itself, wherever you're going, usually is my understanding. And like in those cases, yeah, they probably take their convenience fee off the top, but that actor still gets a good portion of that money plus the fee they get to show up. Then you have the other guys who actually are like doing it at the table. And like, cause like my point was Clint would take the money himself for like the signatures, but you had to go through the ticket part to get the actual pictures taken. So I don't think they got any of his picture money, but they did get the money when you actually went to get the picture taken.
I think
they got
all
to keep
work
a
a
portion
little
of that is
differently.
how, and again, I think it all depends on who the actor is, how much they're doing for the
That's it.
convention and all that kind of stuff.
I don't think it's a one size fits all, but I think that's the general gist of what my understanding is with how it works. But make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.